episode 37.
Diving.
GG.
Diving.
Mic check. What it sound like? Good. Yeah. We'll see.
Diving.
He's not a man. There's nothing more to say.
Diving.
Welcome back, kids, to Diving for Glory, a podcast that looks at football as an obsession. I'm your host, Pep Corciola. What it do, Sir Solomon?
Yep.
No intro this time, man. This is a switch up of formation. This week, man, we're going to cover all top 5 leagues and everything that's left to play for. And as always, the prestigious and egregious D4G award section. Diving for Glory is now posting every Monday on iTunes and divingforglory.com. And now you can also find us on YouTube. Video D4G next season, man. Follow us on Twitter at Diving for Glory and Facebook as well. Follow it, hashtag it, like it, dislike it. I also feel like it's a good time to mention that 3 more episodes is all we got left for the season. The final episode will be after the Champions League game, and we will be giving away our year-end award for Player of the Year. Either way, man, let's do it. Just the cup, jersey tuck, boots, lace. Diving for Glory, let's go.
Yep.
Yeah. All right, man. We're going to start off in mid-week where we have the final 2 legs of the Champions League to determine who will play in the final. And we're going to start this off in Madrid. Real Madrid hosting Bayern Munich.
Yes. Bayern Munich completed 180 minutes of football where they completely dominated, well, not completely, but mostly dominated Real Madrid and came away from it losers.
It's just awful, man. I mean, like, even, and crazy to say that I felt like they were even more dominating in this game than they were in the first game.
Yeah, usually in this level of game, when you're playing away and this Real Madrid, they're gonna, because they're the home team, they're gonna take some gambles and try to get the points, and it usually leaves it a little more open. And Bayern Munich played it perfectly, other than their finishing, because they dominated every aspect of the game, I thought.
But let's talk about the play of the game. The back pass to the goalie who thought it was not a back pass.
It was interesting because right before this we were having a discussion because we had found some interesting news that said Neuer wanted to play for Bayern Munich in the final, and you're like, get the fuck out of here. And that would be a show of disloyalty. And I was telling you how quickly I would drop this motherfucker and put him on.
The guy that you've been praising all year, though, right?
Yeah, he's been having a great year. But
he's not Neuer.
Yeah, and he decided to show and prove to everybody why not only is he not worthy of the final, but this season, Manuel Neuer isn't either. Nobody from Bayern Munich going there.
Will be playing in the final. I was highly disappointed once again in Euler's performance, and again, these guys are getting older. Lewandowski, relatively,
I was more disappointed with Robert Lewandowski's performance than Thomas Muller's, because Thomas Muller has been actually fading as a star for more than a season, and at best he's a streaky guy that is great at playing tournament football, so he represents really well for Germany also, but in a lot of ways I thought he weakened and slowed down the offense. The midfield, though, the super offensive style that they played was impressive. Like, they had Corentin Tolisso, Thiago playing as the holding midfielder, and they took Javi Martinez out and because he slows down the passing. And
you mentioned last week about Alaba, and he played in this game.
And
you saw
Alaba
the difference he made.
Put a grip on that motherfucking position, you know?
He was balling, yeah.
But
Ribery, though, I felt like same type deal. Like, a lot of action, but just nothing final, nothing decisive.
That's kind of what I feel about Ribery's career, though. Like,
he was him and Robin were a monster that year.
Monster. Robin is a supremely talented player, but like at 35, like the amount that this Bayern Munich depends on Ribery, and he's really good, but like that finishing, that's what sets him apart from like the top, and his last play was off on a lot of it. And if you look at his passes, like he turns the ball too much for on that level of football.
Agreed. Was the other player that I wanted to mention from Bayern?
But Quarantine Tolisso had a really, really impressive game. James did his thing.
Thank you.
Scored his goal, hit him up, didn't celebrate. I'm like,
What?
what's up with everybody not celebrating goals? Apparently the coach didn't agree too because took him out.
Oh man, I was gonna say now that's what my question was gonna be. How did you feel about that substitution? I couldn't. I was kind of shocked. This guy's been the best player in the Bundesliga from a stats perspective, and he's definitely.
But over the course of the season, if you do look at Bayern Munich,
Goal
all of
scorer.
them have been pulled at different times, and I would have kept him on, but
Brought him on for Wagner.
Sandro Wagner, and it was getting too offensive. Like you can tip the balance at some point, and you have to take out a player from. Like I would have just taken out Lewandowski, but I guess they just wanted to play him the end of it because Lewandowski was having a shit game.
Two games.
Yeah, but I'm just saying, like in terms of like subbing him out for that particular one, like, and Sandro Wagner brought shit to it.
So to flip the script here, talk a little bit about Madrid. The much maligned Karim Benzema with the brace here.
Yes, one really good goal and one nice opportunistic goal. Karim Benzema did what Karim Benzema do, man. Don't fucking make a mistake in front of Real Madrid. Like, they will kill you.
So this, I found it fascinating. I think we talked about it once again. No Bale in the starting lineup for this game. So the semifinal matchups, they're playing the semifinal games, two biggest games of the year, and Bale does not start either. Interesting. But Madrid, man, they hit you up. That's just how it goes. And 2-2 draw was enough for them to advance on a 4-3 aggregate. So that back pass to the goalie cost them at least the chance at extra time.
But that's exactly what the manager said. He said, we played some beautiful football. I will not regret anything. But a moment of craziness.
That's how it goes.
That's what happens. But to me, I think that the lack of elite Champions League competition in the Bundesliga hurt Bayern Munich. Like,
we say that every year.
Understood, but like we saw it like proper in this game because they outplayed them. But like when you look at Madrid play, and even like we'll talk about it in the Clasico later, like the level of the margin of error that they play with is so small. A lot of these Premier League teams, like they're pushing each other so hard that they're on. And if you look at the Europa Finals, there's not a German team there. If you look at the German teams are a distance behind Bayern Munich that just has to rise.
We'll probably actually talk a little bit more about it after the summer, after we see another transfer window. But really quickly, how much of this is due to their financial? I mean, they're in good financial straits, but they don't have the leeway to just spend blindly like, say, a Barcelona, Real Madrid, or anyone in the fucking Premier League.
Who, Bayern Munich?
Yes. No, the German league.
German teams, yes. That is a problem.
Are they not required to make profit? They are required by their own country law, I believe. Don't they have a rule in Bundesliga that their teams must remain
non-profit?
Yeah.
The financial situation is what causes all this to happen. But at the same time, even recently there have been seasons where they've been closer to Bayern Munich. It's just the level of dominance and the gap is just unbearable right now. I don't know what it needs to change, but they need to hold on to some coaches and have systems instilled that rise it. Like PSG had a season like that this season, but like generally, like they're pushing them. Anyways, we'll get back to it.
Yeah. So continuing on, the other matchup comes in. Roma-Liverpool comes in at 5-2. Liverpool giving up 2 away goals. So Roma needs the 3-goal difference and not give up more than 2 away goals. They damn near did this again. And it was unfortunate that they didn't. There was certainly controversy as well.
Yes, there was definitely controversy, but it seemed like Liverpool fans just kind of thought they were there
This is the how many times have we said that this year? Oh, Liverpool up 3-0. Liverpool tied 3-3.
So, but whenever they're turning up in the game, you could see their superiority, but they need to just be on for 90.
Ooh, that poses an interesting question for the final. But about this game, Liverpool actually lose it 4-2 to Roma. What did Roma loses this by 1 goal, man. What did they do wrong here? Did they approach the first leg wrong?
They just couldn't handle the strike force in the first half. And yeah, they lose it by 1 goal, but that's very flattering to Roma. Like, Liverpool had a firm grip on this tie from the beginning to the end. Like, it looked iffy for a second, but like it was generally like they had it.
It was 7-3 on aggregate at one point, and then they put up 3 more.
Like they made it more work for themselves than was necessary, but it was theirs like throughout.
What about the reffing controversy? I mean, hey man, the Italians have a gripe because they have VAR, or they want VAR pretty bad.
I looked at it very much non-objectively, and I think that Liverpool has a better chance against Real Madrid, so fuck Roma.
Okay, that's super objective. So speaking of that final, we'll touch a little bit more on it, but man, Real Madrid, Liverpool, May 26th. Real Madrid, obviously, with the most European Cups. This would be their 3rd in a row if they were to win. Liverpool, their first their first Champions League final since 2007. Also one of the most decorated teams in this competition. Early thoughts?
I think it's going to be a spectacular game.
I want to boycott it so fucking bad, but I'm going to watch it. I just fuck both teams, but like it could be 5-4 easily, dude. It could be 5-5 extra time.
Like it could be any outcome. Like Liverpool could beat Real Madrid 5-0, like, or the other way around. And just the firepower on both teams is.
I think it'll be fascinating because there's
going to be insane.
2 teams that are just so dangerous on the counter. And so one of them has to dominate possession. I assume it will be Liverpool, honestly.
Why do you assume that?
Just when I watched Real Madrid play this year, man, I haven't seen them dominate much at all, any game. And I've definitely seen Liverpool dominate possession. I've seen them dominated against teams like City. It's teams that dominate possession. I've seen them go through periods where they've done it. So
I think that Isco, Toni Kroos, and Luka Modric as a midfield trio, I would say, in terms of like dominating possession, have a higher chance of doing it than Gini Wijnaldum and them. I don't know what possession gets you. I don't know what. I'm not saying like they'll be better for it, but like in terms of holding the ball, I think that they have guys that would hold the ball more so than Liverpool does. And see, in terms of like getting it across the field as fast as possible, I think Liverpool is better at that.
Yeah, I think it's just an interesting dynamic of the game because they're so potent. Both teams are so potent on the counter. It's like, well, which team is going to actually get the counter? It could just be a back and forth, though, up and down.
It could be, but the question is, if their counters cancel out, which team do you have?
Oh, Real Madrid.
That's the one thing that's scary, is that they can do it from multiple... like Sergio Ramos will fuck you up.
Yeah.
Like, there's not much chance of Dejan Lovren doing that to you. You know what I'm saying? Like,
no. They got a Van Dijk,
Marcelo,
though.
Like these guys have played at the top for so long, but at the same time, when it seems like that is when it's ripe for an upset. So, like, I can't call this.
No, not at all.
At all.
But we'll talk about it a little bit more because I'm sure there will be some injury updates. Moving along to the other Europa League. Salzburg, Marseille goes into extra time as Salzburg claw back 2-0 from the 2-0 deficit of the first leg and force extra time after an own goal and a pretty nice early goal. only to be outdone in the 116th minute.
Yeah, we talked about Marseille last week and said that after the first leg, the most envious position out of most of the European clubs is Marseille because they did not give up an away goal. And at the end of the day, not giving up the away goal is the reason. Like, if they had won, you know what I'm saying? Like, and
Yeah, that would have been toast.
yeah, and they made a meal out of it. They tried to give it back, but Rolando, the defender, coming on late and actually scoring for them gets them through.
Another cross from
Dimitri Payet.
Yeah, he's been getting a lot of airtime because he's been doing a lot of work.
He's been second half of the season amazing. Him and Florent Thauvin have been killing it. Different scores, but like you always see his name on the score sheet. Him and Antoine Griezmann in the final is gonna be a wicked back and forth to watch.
Absolutely, and that leads us to the second game, Atletico, Arsenal. Here's to hoping that Arsenal would at least give, a heartfelt performance in Arsene's last European game as Arsenal coach. But they did the opposite.
This was the least surprising result out of all of European matchups. I was telling them, you tied at home to a team that played with 10 men for 80 minutes.
Yep.
Like,
Gave up an away goal.
Yeah, and then you gave up the home goal too, and you're toast.
In extra time at that. It was a nice goal. Diego Costa hit him up again. And then pulled up lane at about the 86th minute. So hamstring, we'll see if he will be fit in time.
In injury time, not extra time.
Oh, injury time.
Yeah, I was like, oh, hold on, that didn't
Sorry,
extra
man.
time.
Like, it's all extra to me, man.
Just kind of threw it off.
Is it more than 90? Extra. But yeah. No. In injury time, yeah, he pulled up. Had to be taken off. That will be interesting to watch for the final, but since the final is so early, the final is May 16th, and Marseille versus Atletico.
Yes.
In France, I believe.
Yes. Champions League final in Ukraine.
Yeah. Atleti has now won this competition twice, in the 2010 and 2012, and the 2012 edition was actually under Simeone, which a lot of people will point to as like kind of the beginning of this resurgence.
The Europa Cup specialist Radamel Falcao, he hit him a bunch of goals for Atleti before he headed out. And yeah, the Spanish teams have got a very, very good recent record. Sevilla really dominated
Mostly
it.
thanks to Sevilla.
No, but there was a couple of like all Spanish finals too. Like they've been doing really good in it. So Marseille has their work cut out for them. But if it's in France, if you looked at any of the Marseille games, the welcomes they give you,
yeah. Too bad they don't have ever anymore. I like the type of welcomes he gives.
Shit. He's not welcome in that city.
Not welcome in that country.
Hey, he might
his
go
country.
some other places, but like he's not welcome in Marseille.
True that. All right, man, that's Europe. Looking forward to those finals, May 16th, which is a Wednesday, oddly enough, for Europa, and May 26th for the Champions League final, Saturday. Word up. We're going to move on to maybe the biggest game in the world that brings in ratings higher than most Super Bowls, pretty much all Super Bowls. 500 million people is what they estimate watch this game. The Clásico, Barcelona hosting Real Madrid. We're going to touch on this game just because it's so big before we move into La Liga. Actually, an odd game because nothing was at stake except for Barcelona's unbeaten season. And bragging rights.
Before the game, all you heard about was how Real Madrid would not clap when Barca came onto the field or some bullshit like that.
Oh yeah, the guard of honor.
And they were actually referring to it as the decaffeinated Clásico because there was nothing on the line. But
that's not what it looked like.
I don't know if you can call it nothing on the line. That was one of the most intense. I watched the whole second half standing up.
Yeah.
Like, just in a living room, staring at the TV. It was that fucking hype. And both teams pushed each other to the absolute limit. And 2-2 even though there was so much comedic shit going on with the referee and the teams, like 2-2 was a fair score at the end of the day.
Yeah, there was a lot of diving, a lot of slapping, a lot of tomfoolery, like
shenanigans.
Yeah, it was, man. I don't appreciate it. I don't want to act like Barcelona was exempt.
I liked all of it.
Yeah, it was.
I like that. That is like, this is Barca, Real Madrid. You're gonna watch brilliance. You're gonna watch fighting. You're gonna bring out the worst and the best in everybody at the same time, and that's the beauty of it.
I love to see when Messi gets chipped, because he fucking laid it on Ramos still.
Oh, dude, like, and that he ran across, and then he's like running away with the ball, like he's gonna make. Like, dude, why? And then Ramos said, like, the Messi followed the referee into the tunnel, because there was like brouhahas, like when they were leaving to go into the tunnel and as they were coming back after halftime. Like, this game had no chill
at all, and there were some beautiful goals in this game as well. The opening goal, Roberto to Suarez, was fucking wicked.
The fucking volley, which he actually called for. If you look at him, he puts his arm up like before he gets crossed. He shows for it and kills it beautifully. And Sergio Roberto had an interesting day. We'll get back to him. But then they go down the field and open up Barca completely also.
Worked them. That counter that we talking about, all they need is one fucking chance, man.
Yes. Damn. And Ronnie put it away nicely. That gets us to the close to halftime. That's when everything, like the last 10 minutes of the first half, pandemonium. Just like Luis Suarez gets
diving all over the place.
He falls, like there was contact. He's making a meal out of it. Sergio Ramos, being Sergio Ramos, decides to go and pick him up because he's like, you fucking diving. That starts a little bit of a thing. And
Marcelo is out there doing
Luka Modric is low-key so fucking dirty.
Yeah.
Oh my God, he gets stuck in. Him and Jordi Alba, who's not low-key dirty, he's just fucking dirty. Like, they're going at it. It got like really heated. It went from a game where it was like, oh, two nice goals, they're both playing nice, to what the fuck is gonna go on in the second half. Sergio Roberto gets sent off right before halftime for fucking...
The whole sequence was some trash.
For looking like how an old lady would try to slap somebody with her purse.
Boy, quit playing.
Yeah. He got sent off for flirting, basically.
But even worse is the way, and I don't blame him, but the way Marcelo jumped to the ground off that.
Yeah. Bitch. Dude, that's the game. You got, like, he got.
It is the game. He got him. So Barcelona with 2 red cards this season, both courtesy of nice and polite 70 shows looking Sergi Roberto. Straight reds in both instances.
This one was stupid. The other one saved them points.
Sure did.
The other one was a professional foul.
So this happens at 1-1 though. But I swear to God, after that, dude, Barcelona was taking it to him.
Zidane said that shit too. Zidane said they played better against 11 men than they did against 10 men, which was clearly evident because once they came back in the second half, Messi, that little foul he did on Sergio Ramos and the Luis Suarez fight, the thing that was going on, seems to like really have inspired him. And once he got stuck in, like, you can't sit back. Like, the rest of the team were all hype. The same with Sergio Ramos on the other team. Like, he hyped them up so much that the second half, Barca dominated the possession and they created better chances with 10 men. But like I said before, 2-2 was a good score.
Still took some Messi magic.
Took some real Luis Suarez magic.
So the question that I have for you then, was that a penalty in the box on Marcelo late in the game?
Yes.
Looked like he was going to ground, but it was a penalty.
Yeah, it's a penalty, it's fine. But like, I don't think that it's a travesty that calls get missed in games. Like,
no.
You go through a game and like they both there were a lot of situations in that game that it could go the other way. So
Yeah, and we're talking about Real Madrid, a team that probably advanced because they didn't get a Marcelo handball called.
basically,
So it happens.
and
I think all this shit, man, unfortunately, like VAR is going to be a real thing in most of the leagues really soon. I think it's unfortunate, but whatever.
the thing about VAR is that it's just gonna prevent people from doing a lot of things. So, like, if you look at football since the 90s to now, just introducing, like, oh, if we look back at the video, we can suspend you if you fucking break somebody's nose.
Yeah.
That's telling people, like, you don't see people. Back in the day, if you look at the film, the guys had patches on their eyes and shit around their heads because they were, like, fucking knocking each other out.
Yeah.
You know, so things change.
Yep. They do, man. They do. So with that being said, Barcelona get the tie. They remain undefeated. They have 3 games left. Should be interesting to see if they will be able to do it. With all that being said, we are about to cover La Liga. We're not going to do every result, just some of the ones that matter. We're going to give you a rundown of what's going on. Barcelona have already been crowned champions. There are 4 Champions League spots and 3 Europa spots up for grabs. Relegation in La Liga is already set. It is Deportivo, Las Palmas, and Malaga. The top 4 is actually already set.
Yes.
Just a matter of what
Position
order. Yep.
Yes.
Atletico, Real, Valencia are the other 3 outside of Barcelona.
And Betis will finish 5th.
Yeah, guaranteed Europa group. And then there's a battle here between Villarreal, Getafe, for the Europa. Oh, followed by Sevilla, Girona, and Eibar for the final spot.
Villarreal is in a funny position because they have a game in hand.
Yep.
It's against Barca.
Ah, that's right. They play in the midweek. Whoops.
So we'll see how that goes.
For sure. Some of the results that were interesting from this week, I thought, was Sevilla beating Sociedad 1-0. So that keeps Sevilla in the European discussion.
The new coach made a speech about how he looked at the souls and the cojones or something of these players. And they're like, he said some nonsense, but they got a 1-0. It was due. Sevilla has been nosediving. And new manager syndrome.
For sure. Eibar keep their hopes alive in a direct battle with Girona and wax the fuck out of Girona 4-1.
Yeah, Girona been done. They've shown the players they plan to sell. They're just working on contracts for next season now.
Yeah, still in the battle here for, surprisingly, for Europe.
Yes.
Yep, for Europa. Also, Villarreal beat Valencia 1-0.
That is a bit of a local derby. But Valencia securing 4th are very happy with themselves right now.
Yeah. So it's like a whatever. That was a much bigger victory, needed victory for Villarreal. And Getafe beat Las Palmas, more of a 1-0. Getafe needed that to stay in the Europa spot.
Yes. A lot of people have been just driving nails into the coffins of Malaga, Las Palmas, and Depor. Like, they're really just there that if you drop points at them, then you're going to be fucked. But other than that, like...
Yep. So, upcoming this week, as mentioned, Barcelona-Villarreal. That is a midweek game. Just to mention the other Barcelona game this week is Levante-Barcelona. Levante near the bottom of the table with nothing much to play for. Sevilla, of course, they play Real Madrid. It's tough out there. They also play Real Betis. So they have a chance there to play a direct rival.
That's going to be...
They can't catch them, but...
last game of the season. I think, when was it? 04 or 05 or something. These 2 teams played the last game of the season. And at the time, just like these past few years, Sevilla has been the more dominant. Betis was on top. And Sevilla beat them on the last day of the season with a young Sergio Ramos to move into the final Europa League spot, and the year later, Betis was relegated.
Whoops, damn.
So, like, these 2 teams is going to be a fun game. I would, if you can, I don't care what's on the line, you should watch a Sevilla Betis game at some point.
Word up. Girona, Valencia. Valencia has it locked down. Girona's still in play, though. for that final qualification spot. They are only 4 points off of Getafe there with 2 games left to play. What can happen? Getafe has Atletico.
Atletico is purely in prepare for the Europa Final / party afterwards, or wallow and solo afterwards. Like, there is no La Liga left.
I find it fascinating that all these teams that have something to play for at one end of the table, are playing teams that have nothing to play for.
Right?
Like, okay. So it'll be interesting, and I mean, these games matter to a lot of people, man. Europa competition brings in a lot more money, a lot more exposure.
This is the time of the year where they mythically they used to. I mean, not mythically, but like according to legend, this is when they would send the suitcases for teams that have nothing to play for. Like, say Valencia has a game and they don't need to play. Girona's Villarreal might send Valencia some money so that they could.
Oh, really?
Split it
just lay down
the
a little bit for us, basically.
No, not lay down. To play.
Oh,
to not lay down against Girona.
Oh, the other team. I got you.
Yeah.
Hey,
if you beat them, we got you.
Got you. Nice. So there is 2 more games, basically 2 more rounds. There's midweek games in La Liga this week, which will bring everybody to 36. Then there's 2 more games, so they will end not this coming weekend, but the following weekend. So we will be back covering the outcomes next week. Just to make mention, the Pichichi is still Messi with 33, Ronaldo 25, Suarez 24. Ronaldo, I wouldn't think is going to be playing much. We failed to mention he picked up a slight knock in the Clasico, did not play the second half. I don't think you'll see much of him. And Bale came on and balled. I don't think you'll see much of Ronaldo the rest of the year.
Even in the interview post-game, Zidane said he will be back for Liverpool. Like, they're not even considering him for anything else. And if you look at the gap of goals, he's not even gonna. He lost his bet. Basically.
Yeah. Do you agree with that from a rhythm standpoint? We always talk about that. Like, it's better to be, I guess, a long break. If he's not playing now,
depends on the muscle. Like, if it's an injury, then I want Ronaldo to be as fit as possible by the time the tournament starts.
True.
But if it's just like you feel like you need to rest him, I think he's a robot, so he should play.
We should go, no doubt. Cool. All right, moving along. That's La Liga. EPL. The winner has been crowned with a lovely party involving Smurfs and a band and tie-dye. Manchester City are your runaway champs. They actually drew with Huddersfield this weekend. Huddersfield needed that point.
Yeah. Leroy Sané, young player of the year.
Yeah.
We got that before the game.
Nice.
Huddersfield,
Huddersfield played them tough in the first game.
Very much needed point.
Yeah, they had some chances too. So, top 4 is, at the moment, Manchester City, Manchester United, who are guaranteed a Champions League. 1 and 2. Third place is Liverpool, and fourth place is Tottenham. 5th Chelsea, 6th Arsenal. We've been talking about that. Let's move through some of the results.
Yeah, let's do that, and then
we'll
got
talk
interesting.
about it. So, first off,
Friday.
Oh my God, dude! Friday was
Brighton destroyed Manchester United 1-0. Gets
That's
that
right.
still. Mourinho gets mad at players. Said, why always Lukaku? Because when I don't play Lukaku, look what happens. He said, I don't know if this team wants second place like I want it. This is his press conference. These are things he said.
And subsequently, Sir Alex goes down with an ailment very shortly after. It's fucked up.
Yes. This is fucked up, and like my homeboy sent us the link to the Sir Alex injury, and the first thought that came to my mind was Jose Style killed him.
Watching that Mourinho ball. Ugly out
I'd
there,
park
man.
the bus. That shit attempted murder.
Yeah, for real. Word up. So Saturday gets cracking with a nice game. Stoke trying to fight off relegation against Crystal Palace, who need a few more points to be safe. This is a
very fun game. I watched it, and Stoke has one football player.
Shaqiri?
Yes, and a bunch of fucking fat white dudes that can't move.
and then crouch.
And Crouch, yes. Sorry, a skinny white dude. But he's like, if he could take the corner and run down and then hit the header and then like, he would do whatever he could, man. Like, I understand his frustration when he was like, sometimes you look at your team and even Ronaldinho couldn't do anything.
He said that way earlier in the
This
season.
was like a month and a half, 2 months ago. He knew it.
So they were up 1-0 off a lovely Shaqiri free kick, and then they got 2 put on them.
Yeah, it was a very, very contentious game. It was rough, like old English football. Zaha got the treatment quite a few times. Andros Townsend came with that Andros Townsend haircut. What the fuck is that? And it was hilarious, but like Crystal Palace is a way, way, way better team than Stoke is. They have more Premier League players.
And shout out to Roy Hodgson and Crystal Palace, because 7 games in, they hadn't scored a goal. They are now safe. Stoke is now officially relegated. Moving along on Saturday, quickly, we just mentioned Watford with the 2-1 over Newcastle. West Ham with the 2-0 over, we've mailed it in, Leicester City. Another match that
It
actually...
takes some serious skill to mail it in more than West Ham.
For real. Dude.
Like, West Ham is mailed in the season, and Leicester's outdoing them. Late run.
This reminds me of what I did my last semester in high school. It's like, who can get the lowest GPA? Bournemouth hosting Swansea City. Swansea need all the points they can. Bournemouth still lightly in the relegation zone at this point, and they come away with the 1-0 Bournemouth victory.
Yes. Swansea, I think the new manager syndrome of Carvalho has run out. And there's a reason why the guy has coached like 18 teams over the last 7 years. I think he's a band-aid on a paralyzed victim.
Boom. Swansea dropped points. Very valuable
Tuesday
points.
game, that's going to be fun.
Yeah, we'll get to that. After that, though, the most super amazing West Brom on the motherfucking comeback trail. Put it on the Hotspurs.
Yes, Spurs. This is how they finish seasons, man. Like, this is Spursy. They're in the middle of a Spursy.
That is exactly what's going on here.
And Hugo Lloris came out at the end of it and was like, yo, we need to finish our fucking seasons. Like,
they have to win both games. Like, they have to win.
This-
2 draws won't do it.
and this is the best part about it for Spurs. If they win both games, they're in third place. They're not even in fourth.
Fourth. Yep.
But if they drop a single fucking point, they might not be in fucking Europe.
Crazy.
Like, this is
Crazy. Moving along, Everton, Southampton. This was a
this
pretty
is the game that opened it up at the bottom.
Yep. Southampton would have been safe, yes, with the victory.
Yes, they were 1-0 ahead until in injury time. I think 95th minute, Tom Davies off of Idrisu Gana Gueye. He gives an assist, and
You're just showing off pronunciation, man. Fuck
dude, man, I gotta holler at my fucking African brothers, man. Ghana.
Word up. But
But
so they got the draw there.
they took that point that they did not need and made Southampton's life a lot worse for it.
Ooh-wee. We mentioned the City result on Sunday. Arsenal destroyed Burnley in Arsene Wenger's Emirates send-off.
It kind of looked like they were treating him like he was dead.
He looked dead.
But like even like the picture that was going on had a holographic feel to it. I was like, yo, dude is right there.
He's right there. And your shirts that say Merci Arsene look like Med Arsene.
Like, yo.
Anagram and shit.
What's the point of being owned by America if you don't get like one of those like American style like big fucking send-offs that they do here? They're good at that kind of shit. This side of the Atlantic.
Nah. Yeah, this side. We know how to give awards away too. Like when to give them away.
That's what I'm
After
saying.
the season. With all that being said, the most fascinating result of the weekend, in my opinion, Liverpool. Chelsea come away with a vintage Chelsea 1-0. The fuck, Liverpool?
I don't know if there is any vintage in Chelsea's current season because
Not
they're
current
as schizophrenic as they get.
True.
Big shout to Olivier Giroud.
The damager.
Cross took a slight deflection and got out of the path of Virgil van Dijk, who is, by the way, a one-man wrecking crew in that fucking defense.
Yes, he is.
But they still have the problem of if you ever get by him, what the fuck?
What you gonna do with
Yeah,
Lover and Moreno?
And once it got by him, that was the goal.
Yep. This was crucial for Liverpool, man. They could not afford to lose this game, and they definitely did. Chelsea with a late assault on fourth place. That is their fourth win in a row, fifth without a loss. Chelsea making the push. So let's recap this, man. Top four, like we said, City, United already set. Liverpool, Tottenham, and Chelsea are all fighting for the last two spots. Liverpool need a win to guarantee it against Brighton in the last game. Brighton with nothing to play for. They are safe. If they drop points here, they are totally susceptible to fall all the way out of the top four if Chelsea and Tottenham win out at that point.
Now the question for Liverpool, because their season is not just Premier League either. So with that all in mind, there's a lot of time between the next game.
I'm gonna simplify this. Am I gonna bet my Champions League hopes on beating Brighton or beating fucking Real Madrid? We're gonna go and we're gonna fucking beat Brighton first, and whoever's still standing after that, we'll take our chances.
And I think that you'll play a better game against Real Madrid, having just settled your business to begin with. So
agreed.
They need to come out with, in my opinion, the strongest possible team. Fuck putting Mo Salah out there when they were playing Stoke. Now's the time.
Yep.
And they need to get like a signature win. I think they've been
a 4
kind
million.
of going
They need
down.
to smash Brighton.
They've been in the middle of a Spursy of their own a little bit. Can we call it a Mersey?
Lord of mercy.
But they have the potential of having a most amazing season, but it can all go to motherfucking shit.
That is amazing. They could be in Europa next year, like quick.
They could be in Europa, or they could be the Champions League winners, or like
Third place. Yeah, for sure. So Tottenham get a win and a draw, and they will maintain their goal difference, and then they will be through. But that is still close enough, the goal difference, to be susceptible. They play Newcastle and Leicester for their final two games. Chelsea need to win out, and they need one of Tottenham or Liverpool to falter. And they have Huddersfield and Newcastle.
So, 2 years ago, you were there.
Yeah.
Last game of the season.
Yeah, when they could have finished above Arsenal.
Yes, and who did they play?
Oh no, did they play Newcastle?
Yes!
Oh, that's right.
And Newcastle put 5 on them. After they had been already relegated.
If they win that game and then go out and lose to Leicester to mail it in Leicester, that would be fascinating.
Oh, if Jamie Vardy had a party?
Yes, because he hasn't been doing shit.
No, I think he's been doing nothing but having parties, actually.
Him and Wes Morgan.
Yes.
Some of that French connection.
Dude, the last couple, last couple of seasons, he's still champion in his mind.
So, yeah. Dude, no, I thought about, like, all right, we're safe and we got a title. Who gives a fuck? The core of that team, who gives a fuck? We're safe. We're good.
Hey, legend for life.
World Cup coming.
Legend for life.
Yeah, legend for life, dude.
Dude.
Word up. Moving along, man. Europa spots. Chelsea was guaranteed that, but they still have the top four. Arsenal is in there. Burnley is in there because of the FA Cup final, as mentioned before, being between United and Chelsea. Relegation. Stoke relegated. West Brom is alive by the hair on that guy. But they're alive on some other shit, man. They Southampton and Swans play in the midweek. They must draw, and they must both lose their finale. And West Brom must make up the goal difference. But the goal difference is actually close enough where if they were to lose those games, it is possible.
And
so barely alive.
So West Brom, I'm going to go back to a point I made a long time ago. Hiring Alan Pardew.
And they held on to him for
and
so long.
Yes. like this man, the team loves him. He's cool as a motherfucker. Got him playing good football. When it's 85 minutes into the game, they're still chasing when it's 0-0. Before, under Alan Pardew, they'd be trying to secure a 0-0 at that point.
Yep. So the other two teams in the battle here are Swansea and Southampton, and they do control their own destinies, but they play each other.
Yes, the ultimate control over your own destinies, actually.
Yeah.
Head-to-head tomorrow.
Nice. Really good game to look forward to. Huddersfield actually are still in there. They need a point to be safe, though. So that's interesting. With all that being said, upcoming matches, as mentioned, Swansea and Southampton, Chelsea versus Huddersfield in the midweek, and Newcastle midweek and Huddersfield on the last day. We mentioned Liverpool-Brighton. West Brom play Crystal Palace. Swansea play Stoke, which is interesting. Swansea need as many points as they can for the final game. Southampton play Manchester City, their last game. That does not look pretty, as Manchester City is still trying to erase Chelsea from the record books. And as mentioned, Tottenham played Leicester and Newcastle.
I don't know. Manchester City is trying to get the record, but desperation is always a fucking hard. As you saw with the 0-0, they were playing, they're trying to get the points, but like they're not on 100%.
No, for sure. Golden Boots sits as Salah with 31, Kane with 27, and Aguero with 21. We were pretty sure Salah was going to get that, but it's looking sketchy. He needs that hat trick, tie the record.
Nah, man, I think Salah takes it. Newcastle, even if you beat them, haven't been a team that a lot of people put a lot of goals on. Their problem is that they don't have firepower.
They play Brighton, Liverpool.
Oh. No, I meant like
What, Kane?
Kane.
Yeah. No. Kane's not catching. Yeah. Nah.
Guerrero ain't catching him. He's retired for the season.
He's retired for the season, yep. All right, moving along, man. Serie A. A lot of this almost got settled this week. Juventus is still in first place. Let's touch on the games real quick before we get into all that. Juventus played Bologna, and Bologna was up 1-0 at half.
Yes.
That is not how it ended.
Juventus didn't even need to try it to tie it because it was an own goal. So Bologna scored 2 goals and it was 1-1. And then after that, they took care of business, 3-1 Juve.
Done. So that puts pressure on Napoli. Napoli on Sunday played Torino. Tell us about this game. You watched this game.
Yeah, it was a exciting game. Napoli is playing at about 70% speed. You could tell like they're not where they were. The moves are not as cutting edge as they were, but they're still a firepower team. The defender for Torino was making a lazy dribble back to his own goal. Dries Mertens came in, stabbed home 1-0. But Torino, funny thing was, they were playing Niang as a striker instead of Belotti, who earlier in the season was supposed to be like the next big Italian thing, and he came off the bench later, but they pegged them back to 1-1, and then Hamsik scored his 100th Serie A goal to put him ahead 2-1 against the run of play in the 83rd minute.
He went Hamsik, son.
He went ham. Hard as a motherfucker. But Lorenzo Di Silvestre gets behind the defense on a long cross, and Napoli was shocked. There was nothing they could do. They were not ready for a championship. I told you at the beginning of the season, Juve going to do it again.
Awful, man. Like, and then that does not end the league, but it essentially ends the league. Juventus sit 7 points clear with they sit 5 points clear.
Yes.
5 points clear with 2 games to go. Hell,
actually, Juventus is 6 points clear
6
with
points
2
clear,
games,
2
2 games to go,
with
and
a
a
huge
goal difference.
Yeah. So it's essentially done.
Yeah.
Champions League is a little more interesting. You still got Roma, Lazio, and Inter all battling for the other 2 spots. Very close there, actually. And with all that being said, Inter play Udinese. Udinese, as we have discussed last week, are dying to be in the relegation battle and continue.
Oh, they're there.
They're there.
Anyways,
And they got smashed.
Rafinha scores his first Inter goal. Icardi moves to within one of Chiro for league. And, dude, he's not a bitch. Bro's not a bitch. Brozovic had 2 assists.
Word up.
Showing that Bro's not a bitch.
Lazio, 4th place. They play Atalanta, who are also in play for a Europa game. So this is a pretty big game, or Europa spot. It's a pretty big game for them, and that was a draw for Lazio and Atalanta. At home, Lazio.
Yeah, Lazio seems like they're done for the season almost, like that small squad.
Yeah, I mean, if they make Champions League, though, that'll be a major fucking...
Oh, yeah.
That'd
I'm
be
just
major
saying, like,
coup.
they're holding on and hoping the season ends.
Yeah, they're like, please.
Yeah.
Also making an assault on Europa League is AC Milan, who are currently in the qualification spot, and they smashed Hellas Verona's 4-1.
Yeah, they relegated them, actually.
Relegated them.
At
Done.
the end of that game, Verona was relegated, and AC Milan slide into 6th and final Europa League spot.
Yep. Roma played Cagliari to end the weekend, and they win 1-0. Cagliari also in the relegation zone. Roma trying still within. What do they need to win? They need to win in the guaranteed Champions League.
Yeah, Roma stays in 3rd, and Sengi's under goal was good enough for the business.
Boom, no doubt. So, to recap this, as we mentioned, Juventus, Napoli, Roma, Lazio are currently in the all-guaranteed group stage spots. Champions League, there are 2 Europa spots here. Inter is in 5th place, but only 2 points behind Lazio for that final spot. AC Milan, Atalanta, and Fiorentina are all fighting for the final Europa qualification spot. And then this makes for some interesting matchups for next week. Real quick, we'll cover relegation because Benevento's been done, Verona done, and then there's 5 teams still alive for the final relegation spot: Cagliari, Udinese, Crotone, Chievo, and SPAL. So interesting, similar to La Liga, you got teams playing for things on both ends of the table meeting up. Lazio and Crotone open it up this coming week.
Yes, over the course of the season, I think that Lazio deserves it over Inter, and I'd rather they finish 4th. So I hope that Crotone, who until this season I thought was just something you put on top of the salad.
Exactly.
I don't give a fuck what happens to them.
Word up. Fiorentina, Cagliari. Fiorentina still alive for that final Europa spot.
Fiore making moves on the final Europa spot. I think AC Milan secures that spot, but Fiorentina will fuck up Cagliari.
Yeah, 3 points back. Fiorentina is of AC Milan. Roma play Juventus.
Yes, that should be big game. It's nobody from Rome likes when any of the Northerners comes down, anyways. So it should be interesting.
So, and then what I see is maybe one of the, even with that game going on, because it's kind of over for Juventus. This is a huge game. Atalanta hosting Milan. They are 1 point separated on the table. Milan, as mentioned, is in the final Europa qualification spot. Atalanta 1 point back.
Yeah.
At ATL.
At ATL. Hakan Kalhanoglu has been really nice lately. Patrick Crotone has also been doing his thing. Suso is amazing. I think that AC Milan has a better team, but we don't know. I'll take the team having a fear of Rino Gattuso over the team that doesn't have that fear in their locker room.
Yeah.
So I think AC Milan wins.
As mentioned, though, Atalanta was Champions League last year, I believe. So the golden boot for whatever they call it there. What do they call it there? Do you know? Leading scorer? Huh?
I don't know, Spaghetti d'Oro.
Okay. Immobile with 29, Icardi with 28, Dybala with 22. Moving along, man. Bundesliga. We have already crowned champions in the Bundesliga, Bayern Munich, like a month ago or something like that. Champions League spot, there's 4 of them, all guaranteed group stage spots. Currently sits as Bayern, Schalke, Dortmund, and Hoffenheim.
Hoffenheim sneaking in that bitch too.
You think so?
I mean, no. What I'm saying is
They
like
just
they snuck
creeping.
in. Like they weren't supposed to be the ones that stick around. Leverkusen, RB were the bigger teams. Julian Nagelsmann, he was like looked at a little overrated after the early hype, but
Yep.
still kept them around.
All that being said, with 1 game left, Leverkusen, Leipzig are still alive for that 4th spot. Frankfurt, Stuttgart, all vying for Europa qualification. Some of the interesting results from this weekend: Leipzig smashed Wolfsburg 4-1. Leipzig's been on a downswing, and Wolfsburg is fighting relegation.
Yeah, they're fighting it some more now.
Yep.
Um,
But
RB, when they turn it on, some of these lower teams can't handle them, man. They have 4 or 5 guys that are actually like game breakers, and if one of them is off, then you can get them.
no doubt. Blah, blah, blah. Stuttgart hosting Hoffenheim. Stuttgart fighting for that that far away Europa spot. I feel like they had a little bit more to play for, but still come away with 2-0 over Hoffenheim.
Once he gets rid of Bayern Munich,
It's a lot of parity.
Yeah, like even like maybe 1 or 2 of the relegation teams, like he's like being at home is a huge thing. Like these stadiums are big. The country's kind of bigger than England. Like there's not, they're not going all over the place like huge fan bases. So it's very territorial. So where you play and who you're playing is very important this late in the season.
Dortmund, trying to secure their Champions League spot, played Klopp's old team, Mainz, and we watched this game actually. Mainz. It was a good game. It was fun. It was frenetic, fast paced. Mainz put in some nice goals too.
Yeah, and just today the they just confirmed Dortmund's next season coach will be this current season's Nice coach.
OGC?
Yeah, man.
No
Ballo
doubt.
getting people jobs. Dope. So
No
it should be interesting.
Lastly, Frankfurt, who are still fighting for Europa League, relegate STD and HSV. Hamburg.
What?
Hamburg. Now relegated because of that loss. Relegation sits as Cologne, HSV, already relegated. Then there are, as mentioned last week, Wolfsburg and Freiburg.
So that 3rd spot plays against 3rd place from Bundesliga.
From the 2.
Tus. I don't know how you say two. Zwei.
So that's a playoff. That's not a guaranteed relegation.
Yeah.
With all that being said, Wolfsburg actually are down 3 points behind Freiburg, but they hold the goal difference majorly. So if they can win, if they can at least tie Freiburg on points, they'll be fine. With all that being said, upcoming matches sit as Wolfsburg actually plays last place Cologne.
Who have actually got points from people after getting relegated.
Absolutely, man. We shouted them out here one time, I believe. They had a nice, like, what the fuck are you still playing for? Like, you came back from, like, 2-0. Anyway, Bayern, Stuttgart. I wanted to mention that because Stuttgart has something to play for, and Bayern is done, basically.
Yeah.
Stuttgart with a chance?
No.
Even still. Probably one of the bigger matches here.
Last game of the current coach. He's going to retire.
Huh?
That's enough for Bayern Munich to just trample you.
That's true. Second retirement. Hoffenheim, Dortmund. So somebody's got some points there.
Those are the games that got circled. Hoffenheim hosting Dortmund is going to determine pretty much what happens the rest of the week. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. If Dortmund lose this game, then Hoffenheim Hoffenheim will clinch. But if Dortmund go ahead and win this game, it opens it up for Leverkusen or even Leipzig to sneak in. Yep.
And Leverkusen has Hanover.
Yep.
at least they're playing at home, so they'll be happy with that.
Yep.
And
Leipzig.
RB is going to Berlin to play Hertha.
Hertha. So a couple mid-table teams.
So
Interesting. Still got to show up.
they still gotta show up, that's for sure. But I'm hoping Borussia Dortmund beats Hoffenheim away, and then
Leverkusen or Leipzig sneak in.
yeah,
I'd like to see Leipzig. I mean, Leverkusen. Leipzig.
I'd rather
shit.
Leverkusen sneak in, but I definitely don't want to see anything to do with Hoffenheim.
David Hoffenheim. Word up. The golden shower boot, or whatever they call it there. Lewandowski with 29. Nils Peterson second with 15. And Mark Uth with 14. All right, man, we're going to wrap this up. Liga. Make them say, All right, enough. Champions crowned like five months ago. PSG, we already mentioned. French League only has 3 Champions League spots, and only 2 are guaranteed for the group stage, so the third one is for qualification. PSG already wrapped it up. So does Lyon, Monaco, and Marseille, all fighting for these last 2 spots, which is interesting because, again, Marseille has the final against Atletico, which would win them automatic Champions League qualification. I wonder how they're going to play that. Europa spots are still open with Stade Rennes, Saint Etienne, Nice, Montpellier, and Bordeaux, all vying for the final Europa qualification.
I just love that one of your best friends is French. That's just awesome to me.
Talking about my pronunciation moves from like Tennessee to French to Spanish. I roll my R's and shit.
Don't forget that Milwaukee.
Oh, Milltown. Woo. Word up. Word up, man.
Marseille's on 73 points. They fucked up Nice 2-1 this fucking weekend.
Yep.
Right? 1 point behind Monaco, who fucked up Caen away 2-1. Lyon in second place have 75 points. So between second and fourth, there's 2 points. Lyon put it on Troyes. They put Troyes past Troyes.
Troyes. Who are now, Troyes are sitting in relegation. It's tough out there. Stade Rennes 2-1 over Strasbourg. Trying to
big up, Roman.
Yeah. Monaco, you mentioned that. We mentioned Marseille. Word up. So upcoming matches that I think. Well, let's cover relegation real quick. Metz is already gone, relegated. Troyes, Toulouse, Lille, Strasbourg, Caen, all alive for relegation still. So there's a lot to play for at the bottom of League.
Dude, Toulouse. It's in your name. Go.
Toulouse or not Toulouse. Upcoming matches. Monaco plays Saint Etienne, actually.
Interesting.
Nice play Caen. Strasbourg play Lyon. And Montpellier and Troyes also play. So a lot of teams that have a lot to play for are playing each other in League 1 this week. We. Not that I'm going to check many of them out. But I don't know what to call this one. The Golden Taint boot?
Oh. Top scorer.
Cavani, 28. Florian Thauvin, 20. And Neymar still with 19. And that's your League 1.
And Edison Cavani's contract has a 1.5 million clause if he ends up as top scorer, which is why he almost slapped Neymar for that penalty that one time. Congratulations. Hope you enjoyed.
No doubt. I hope it was worth 1.5. Actually, he'd probably do it for free.
Dude, easily.
Do it
You
for
might
free.
pay some of that 1.5 to slap him.
Fuck yeah. All right, man. Gonna keep awards short this week. Our dude of the week goes to
West Brom manager Darren Moore.
you got to shout a team out that was definitely earmarked for relegation, at least bringing it down to the final day, possibly bring it to the final day. They played Liverpool, Manchester United, and Tottenham, all top 4 teams at the moment, and came away with 7 points.
Fucked up Tottenham to where Hugo Lloris is out there talking shit about his own team. And while the winning goal was being scored, Darren Moore never flinched from his crouching position. The whole stadium around him going nuts. He's like, yep, get back in position, lads.
Did that. Yeah, shout out, man, for sure. Goal of the week.
Goal of the week has to go to, doesn't have to, but it is going to, Rolando from Marseille for the extra time winner on as a substitute to take them to a final.
Yay, goal of the week. Twat happened moment, courtesy of Ligue 1.
Haha, Prétain.
Tony Chaperon, if you remember from earlier in this season,
Who has an awesome name.
was chaperoned off of the fucking scene after kicking a player in the middle of a game. He apologized, who cares, and got 3 months suspension, which was then extended to a 6-month suspension.
Oui.
And then this past week he was voted as the referee of the year by his contemporaries.
If it's like how Time gives Man of the Year, just because, like, even if it's the most newsworthy person, then I would agree. He was the referee of the year. He was the most newsworthy referee out of France this season.
For sure. Damn. That's a good point. And that match is in the books. Diving for Glory, episode 37. That's what it is. As always, thanks for tuning in. We appreciate anyone who takes the time to check us out. Don't forget, Diving for Glory posts every Monday. Check us on iTunes and divingforglory.com. You can also find us on YouTube. Follow us on Twitter at Diving for Glory and Facebook as well. Get at us, man. Until next week.
We out like Swansea.
Solomon. Match.
Diving.
He's not a man. There's nothing more to say.
Diving.